That's old honey girl there. All right, she's been here 9-10 days. And look, it's just a thought, right? This is a thought about the whole force-free and making dogs do things, right? And it's not that big of a deal. So, she's been here for 10 days. She just pooped, right? Let her kind of walk around, and then I was standing there, and then look. So, even though she's been here 10 days, I've given her a ton, you've seen, I've given her a ton of food. Look, she's still kind of weird, right? Look, I'm bent over with my hand out. Ideally, you just sit there and wait until she comes. Now, she's kind of weird about the phone and the flashlight for some reason. Now, a second ago, I didn't even have it on. But I did the same thing, right? So I was standing up, and she pooped, and then, so I walked up to go to get her poop, right? And then, so as I was walking up, she kind of weirded out. And so even though I did like this, bent down and put my hand like this right there, she stayed away. So you know what I did? I forced her, she even just then, when I did this, look, she backed up. I forced her by going like this. I forced her with my hand down here like this. I forced her to come forward. Look. Now is that intimidating and blah blah? No, I mean it is invasive and it is putting pressure on her. But it's also putting pressure on her to say, look, dude, when I do this, it's not that big of a deal. And after 10 days, you would think, right? And I don't think I've ever gone above head. Like, I've always done like this, right? For pets, right? I've always done like this, and then I'll come up like this. I've never gone like this. And, you know, again, I've said it before, there's no telling if someone hit her and abused her, right? I don't think so. I think she would be a lot worse if that was the case. I could see, however, like if she was in one of her little puppy fear periods, you know, if she did something and they like bopped her on the nose, maybe with her being genetically maybe insecure or shy or whatever you want to call it, maybe that was too much, right? I could see something like that, more so than actually beating her or something. Where was I going with that? Dude, was I just doing the whole sidewalk? It was my grass growing, catching the sidewalk thing, huh? On the slide over here. I could see that. And maybe it's just naturally, right? I mean, sticking your hand on everybody's face is obnoxious anyways. But where was I going? Oh, so, hello. Where you at, girl? You want to say hi to everybody? Here, come here. You had a little bit too much space, huh? I gave you a little too much space. I couldn't tell where it was. Dragging the line. What was I saying? Oh, but anyways, obviously it's ideal to sit there and wait forever and let them choose to come up. I think that is a lot better than pulling the leash. But at some point, you got to say, hey, dudes, that's enough of the silliness, right? You've been here enough. I've had my hand in your face with food enough, right? We've played enough. That gets into, I've said a bunch of times too, and other ones. I think a lot of times it's not what you do, but it's the energy with which you do it. You know what I mean? So if you force a dog to come up and take food from your hand, right? And you're just cool about it, here, come on. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, bitch, get over here. Right? Like, I don't know, for instance, for example, right, if I'm putting her in a room, right, and she kind of doesn't want to go, I'm like, bitch, get the fuck in there. Ugh. Well, that would be an obnoxious way to force her to do it. But if you take the leash and just go, here, you got to get in there, right? And you do it with a calm, cool energy, you're forcing her to do what you want her to do, but it's not a, I don't know. Like at some point, you got to stop just throwing food at everything, right? Well, I guess you don't have to. But, right? Like that's an example. Like I like say in the crate, I would normally throw food in the crate, right? Get them to go in the crate. Then after a few times, it doesn't have to be 100 times, but after a few times, they've got to go in, and then they can get it, right? It's the old turn the lure into reward, right? At some point, you got to just go in there and get it. I don't know. Forcing, using force isn't that bad. It's I don't know, man. When you think of everything in extremes, like forcing a dog to do everything is terrible. Never force a dog to ever. Well, I mean, sometimes you have to, right? Just do it with the right energy. Oh, girl. Now she's super sensitive to energy, right? Like, yesterday morning I was letting her and Tank play inside, and he was being obnoxious. And even though I was walking in and grabbing him and pulling him away, when I would walk in, right, so like she's here and he's like getting on her. So even though I'm going this way, right, so see even there, I went towards her back. She was like, ooh, what's up with that? Right? Just the fact that I went fast is weird. So he's like getting on to hump, and I'm like, and he's staying on. So I go in and I grab him to pull him off and walk him away. So even with that, and even with just being in a cool energy and not even going, she was still weirded out for a minute, right? Oh, where'd you go? So, but the more you do that stuff, the more they see. Like I had to do that 3 or 4 times. And she knew I wasn't going in to get hurt. Well, you would think she would know. Right? Because 3 or 4 times, a few times since she's been here, right? I've never had to grab her. It's always going in and getting him to stop being obnoxious. A couple times she's wanted to play, right? And she's done good. And then sometimes she hasn't wanted to play. So I'll bring her out with the boys here in a little bit. The boring boys. You want to come out with the boring boys, girl? There we go. There's that pee-pee. Such a good dog, dude. He's such a good, calm dog. I bet if it'd be different if she wasn't in her little room, though. Tank's just too much sometimes. Damn puppy. To lock his little butt up more often. All right, that's a whole nother story. We're out of here.